رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Love. Very interesting topic among the youth, right? In fact, most interesting topic. You see many people coming to this, that's why I think. So brothers, what comes to your mind when you first hear the word love? How many of you have seen the video? Many of you, right? Good. So what comes to your mind first when you hear the word love? Marriage. Good. I think there were different answers you heard in the video. It might be girlfriend-boyfriend relationships, Bollywood, movies, Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol, kuch kuch hota hai, dil to pagal hai. Many things can come to your mind, right? This is what we are learning every day. On the other hand, you go and ask your parents or your grandmom what comes to your mind first when you hear the word love. She says, Astaghfirullah, what are you talking about? This is your age to study, this is not your age to talk about all these things. Right? We see both extremes today in the society. One is this extreme and one is on this extreme. So we need to see that where are we taking these concepts from? Where are we learning the concept of love from? Who is teaching us about love these days? Media, exactly. Movies. We feel that the best love story is the love story of Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol, probably Katrina and Salman Khan. Is it? That's what we feel, right? That's what is being shown to us. Let's see what is shown in the movies. Let's see what's shown in the movies these days. What was shown in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai? Everybody's seen it, right? What was shown? Let me talk about Bollywood. Let's not even go to Hollywood, because in Hollywood there is no love. There is no concept of love. The relation exists only before marriage, and there is nothing after marriage. They start looking for others after marriage. So let's not discuss about Hollywood. Let's discuss about Bollywood, what is shown in about love. So what was shown in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai? Your parents are sending you to college for studies, expecting that you'll study. But was there anything shown about studies? It's only Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. The whole movie showed this. You should romance in the college. Studies is all, it's not at all important. You need to enjoy your life. Right? This was only shown. Was anything on studies shown in that? The whole movie was around the college, right? There's nothing about studies. There is only about romance, hanging out with different girls. In another occasion, I happened to see the movie DDLJ on a travel somewhere on a journey. You know the full form of DDLJ, right? Is there anybody who doesn't know? Sorry. Probably because you haven't been in India. So, what was shown in that movie? I was actually noticing something when I was watching that on my travel. They were showing that, first of all, you cannot marry someone who is of your parents' choice. Was this shown? Did you all observe this? And anybody your parents chooses for you is a villain. And whoever you like and whoever you love is a hero. He is the best for you. This was shown, right? Yes. Did anybody observe that in this angle? Whoever your parents choose for you is a villain. And before marriage, you should hang out with a couple of girls. You should have some experience before marriage. You should know how to deal with women. This was all shown in the movie. You should enjoy your life. Kya pata kal ho na ho. Right? So this is where we are taking the concept of love from. Forget about Bollywood. Even Tom and Jerry has girlfriends today. And that is what our kids are watching at home. Since childhood. This is what they are learning. What they are watching when their mind is actually at a development stage. That is the stage when the mind develops and the child absorbs these things. So they are watching these things. In the schools, you take, for example, on the Valentine's Day, they are asked to get roses. Kids are asked to get roses and exchange roses, and whoever gets most number of roses gets an award at the end of the day. So this kind of love is being promoted on the name of liberalism, modernism, and freedom. This love has become a trend nowadays. If you're not into this bracket, you're out of the box, you're out of the crowd. If you can't flirt with a girl in the college, you're like, oh, come on, he doesn't know anything. He's a nerd. He doesn't even know how to speak to a girl. This is what is happening, right? On the other hand, let's see what is the concept of beauty in our minds. Is there something called as internal beauty? Have you ever heard about it? No, we hardly care about internal beauty. What we care about is physical attractions, physical beauty. We want a girl to be fair, to be beautiful, to be slim, size 0 probably. She should look like some actress, Katrina Kaif, Aishwarya Rai. This is all the ideals we are setting up of beauty. And in reactionary to this, even women have forgot that they have something called as internal beauty. Even women, to satisfy the men's needs, to satisfy the desires of men, they also want to become fair, they want to look beautiful, they want to look like some actress. In this movie, that actress looked like that, so I want to keep that hairstyle, for example. This is the standard even women are setting now. I was traveling last week somewhere, so I was noticing the job of air hostesses. What is the job of an air hostess? She has to do everything just to satisfy, just to attract the customers. She is taught, there are training institutes, she is taught to satisfy the desires of men on a plane. She is taught to satisfy the men as long as they are on a journey so that they travel again in the same flight. This is what is the concept of love. And then we have a lot of advertisements. We see a glooming industry of beauty products, Fair and Lovely, Pond's, Lakme. By the way, Fair and Handsome advertisements are also common these days. So basically, if we really look into the society, the concept of love has died. This is not love. Is this love? This is not love. This is lust. Am I right? This is lust and this is filth. Absolute filth. You see people go to St. Anne's College and see the guys roaming around there. Any other girls' college for that matter. And you know the number of molestation cases increasing in India. Between the age of 12 and 13, the number of rapes increasing in India. Just last week there was a news, I hope you must have all read, 7-year-old schoolgirl was raped. Last week in Nagpur, 7-year-old schoolgirl was raped. You all know the incident of Delhi, what happened in Delhi. And most interestingly, who is promoting these things? The same people are promoting who protested at the time of the Delhi rape. The same people. It was too funny to see that the Bollywood actors and actresses were protesting for the Delhi incident. It's so contradictory, right? They are the ones who are instigating, they are the ones who are instigating these thoughts in us, who are raising our emotions, and when on reactionary men commit that crime, they come out of the streets and protest. It is they who are to be held responsible. Also, Valentine's Day has just passed. I think you all must have noticed this. You get messages, a lot of messages on Valentine's Day saying, are you single yet? Want to get hooked up? Do you have a girlfriend? You can gift her this and this. Advertisement saying, gift your love on Valentine's Day. Movies showing you how to propose your girlfriend on Valentine's Day, give her roses. All such sort of things promoted by the media. On the other hand, if you look into the city of Hyderabad, for example, what happened? If you read the newspaper of 15th August, all the newspapers read, the parks were shut down because of this and this act. This and this girlfriend and boyfriend has been arrested. On one hand, they are promoting these things. On the other hand, they are stopping you from it. It's like throwing meat in front of a tiger and asking the tiger not to eat it. That cannot happen, right? And the instinct in a human can be instigated only by an external means. And that is what the media and the society is doing. There might be some people who think I'm not like that. I'm good. I watch movies, but I have good intentions. I take good out of it. I talk to girls, but I have good intentions. I give dawah to them. So, innamal a'malu wan-niyya, right? My niyyah is good. May Allah will forgive me. Remember, brothers, shaitan always starts very slowly. Shaitan starts something unnoticeably. Do you all know the story of Barsisa? Anybody? Okay, I won't tell you the story in detail. Barsisa was a priest. He was a very God-fearing man. What happened once is he was guardian of a woman. So slowly he started talking to her. He started giving her dawah, and slowly he started meeting her. Shaitan made him meet her more, and then finally he committed zina with that woman. So we see a lot of Barsisas today around us. We see a lot of Barsisas in the colleges and schools. I'll just compare it with the youth today. It starts like, there's a girl in the class. You can talk to her, you can exchange notes with her, it's good. She will feel bad if no boys talk to her. And slowly you start exchanging books. And slowly then you exchange phone numbers. Probably she might be of help sometime. You don't talk, you don't message anytime, but you have the phone numbers. One day you feel like forwarding a Quranic ayah to her. Wow, good Quranic ayah, I should share with her. Or some good friendship message I should share with her. You pass on a message, then after a week she sends you a message. Then it increases a bit. You start replying to that message. Oh wow, good message, thank you, thanks a lot. It's just this much, right? Shaitan is playing at the back end. You don't notice that there is something going on. But slowly, Shaitan takes complete control over you. You start talking now. You start chatting regularly. You start talking in the night. You go with the night talk time. Everybody knows night talk time, right? How many of you know night talk time? Good. So everybody recharges their mobiles with night free talk time and they're on the phone all night. This has started unnoticeably, and now Shaitan has taken control over you. Then when you say that we are talking so much, what's wrong in just meeting once? Let's meet outside for a lunch or probably for a movie. And Shaitan then comes to you and says, when you're meeting so much, what's wrong in just holding her hand? Hold your hand, show some love to her, show her affection, kiss her on the hand. There's nothing wrong in that. Shaitan takes so much control over you that you end up in the bedroom. It had started with just exchanging a book, and you have ended in the bedroom. This is what the story of Barsisa is. That's why I say there are a lot of Barsisas today around us in the colleges. It all started fi sabilillah, and it ended fi sabili shaitan. Right? See, brothers, the feelings for love, the affection towards woman, and having some feelings about others, this is not what Islam prohibits. In fact, the instinct of procreation, this affection has been put in our hearts by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has himself put this instinct in us. You might feel, fine then, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this instinct in us, what's wrong? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has adorned the love of desires for women. حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ means love of desires. مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. For whom? For women. It is natural to get attracted to a woman. Anybody in this room who says they have never felt this kind of attraction? Anybody who says that I have never ever felt this kind of attraction? I would say he's an abnormal person. It is natural, it is put in our hearts by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. So this love is put, this attraction is put in our hearts by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Said that, you cannot say that, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this, that's not my fault. If I'm getting attracted to a woman, that's not my fault. No. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also taught you how to react to these kind of situations, how to react in these circumstances. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ. Tell the believing men to lower down your gaze. Tell the believing men to lower down your gaze and guard their private parts. This is purer for them. Indeed, Allah is acquainted with what they do. Also, Rasulullah said in a hadith, Every religion has a distinguishing feature. R is haya, modesty. Whenever Allah wishes to destroy a person, He snatches haya from him, without which he becomes disgraced and wrenched. So this is the kind of measurements you need to take, and this is the kind of precautions you need to take when you find the hubush shahawati min an-nisa. You need to lower down your gaze. Also, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this instinct in us, He has taught us how to fulfill this instinct. This was just the precautionary measures. Now how to fulfill this instinct? See, who can teach you best about something? Who has created this, right? The creator of the particular thing can teach you how you have to deal with it. Same like this world is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is the best to teach you what is the laws of government to be there in this? You can't go to the West and learn from the capitalist ideology. You can't learn from democracy. You have to learn from Islam, from Quran and Sunnah, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala how to govern this land, these laws. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also teaches us how to fulfill the instinct of love. How to deal with love. People might think, oh come on, Islam talks about love. Are you kidding? Yes, do you know, brothers, that there have been classical scholars who have written books on love? There is an awesome material present about love in Arabic. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimullah, anybody knows, I hope he's a popular classical scholar. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimullah wrote a book named Rawzatul Muhibbin, The Garden of Lovers. Another classical scholar, Ibn Hazm rahimullah, he was known as the scholar of love. He has written a book, Tawq al-Hamama, The Ring of the Dove. Such romantic names, right? These are the classical scholars who have written on love. Ibn Hazm states about the hukum of love in his book, he says, love is neither disapproved by religion nor prohibited by law, for every heart is in Allah's hand. He's talking about the passionate love, he's not talking about the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says love is not prohibited because our heart's in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now let's see, love happens intentionally or unintentionally, is it by choice or by chance? What do you feel, brothers? How many of you say love happens unintentionally? Unintentionally. One. How many of you say love happens intentionally? Okay, the others don't carry any opinion about love? So Ibn al-Qayyim answers this question in his book, The Garden of Lovers. He says, it is first by choice and then by chance. And you are responsible, you are accountable for what is in your hands. It is like, first, how is it by choice? For a woman, she adorns herself, she beautifies herself, she doesn't cover up, she's close with women, she talks with men a lot, and she free mixes with men in the colleges. And men and boys, they go around looking for women, they go around looking for girls, they want a beautiful girl, they start talking to them. So this is all happening by choice, right? Okay, the love hasn't started yet. But this stage is by choice. Then you slowly get closer to each other, you start talking, you start sharing thoughts, slowly you develop affection towards each other. And that is where you start probably loving her. That is by chance. That is happening unintentionally. The start was intentional, but then you fall in a relationship unintentionally. And that is where you are accountable for, not because this is unintentional, because the start was intentional. And you are accountable for it. Let's see how do we deal with love, and if you are in love, what is to be done, what does Islam say about it. Let's refer a hadith in this. Ibn Abbas narrates, a man came to Prophet ﷺ and said, I am a guardian of a slave, of a yatima, of an orphan girl. There are two proposals for her, one of a rich man and one of a poor man. We are more inclined towards the rich man. We want her to get married to a rich man because she is an orphan, she is yatima. It will be good for her. But the girl, she wants to marry the poor man. She is more inclined towards that guy. So Rasulullah replied, Lam yura lil mutahibbina ghayru nikah. There is nothing better for lovers than marriage. He didn't say, oh, how is she inclined towards that guy? She cannot be inclined towards any na-mahram. He said, anybody who is in love, the best thing that can happen between them is marriage. So you may love someone. Islam does not prohibit you from loving someone. But as long as you love the halal way. Right? So, even love, you must not take it lightly, or it is not something to joke around with friends, to make fun out of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, as recited in the ayah now, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And among His signs is this, that He created for you wives, mates, from among yourselves, that you may find tranquility in them. And He has put between you love and mercy. Verily, in that are indeed signs for people who reflect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here that this sign of a relation between men and women, the love between men and women, is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, if you have heard the ayahs recited in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is discussing about His signs of creations of heavens and the earth, and how these heaven and the earth are in line with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. He's creating these, comparing these creations with the creation of men and women and the love between them. And says that this is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not something that you may not talk about. This is not something which is to be discussed only after marriage. This is the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where He says, أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا, where you will find peace and tranquility. Azwajan, with your wife will you find tranquility in them. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. It is about the love and mercy between you both. Islam gives a very high status to love. Islam recognizes love. It gives it importance. But also teaches us how to fulfill this instinct. That is through marriage. That is the halal way. So, the discussion of love begins with marriage. There is nothing before marriage. I think all of you agree with me till now. The discussion of love begins with marriage, and the discussion of marriage begins by choosing a spouse. Even before that, let me just discuss of the purpose of marriage. Why should one marry? There are a lot of reasons to marry, but I will discuss only two of it. Prophet ﷺ said, when a man marries, he has fulfilled half of his deen. So let him fear Allah regarding the other half. So it is about completion of your deen, half of your deen. It is love, and marriage is about the deen, the half of the deen. Also Rasulullah says, O young man, whoever is able to marry should marry, for that will help him lower his gaze and guard his modesty. So these are the very short purposes of marriage which you should look forward to get married soon. I would say that every one of you should have already been married in this age. Everybody is above 17, right? You all should have been married by now. Now don't go home and say that I've learned today that we need to marry soon and I want to get married now. Your parents will not let you come to next session. So the beginning of marriage is choosing a good spouse. Rasulullah says, how do you choose a good spouse? I mean, all of you want to choose a good spouse, right? He states there are 4 conditions of choosing a good spouse. A woman is married for 4 things. Wealth. Well, I'm going further. It's not just wealth. Wealth, her status, her beauty, and her religion. Her deen. The hadith further says, and you should marry the one who is religious. Otherwise you will be a loser. Before going further in this, I'd just like to give a small advice from my side. Whenever you think of choosing a spouse, choosing your future wife, think of the future. What's the future? It's not 4 or 5 years down the line I'm talking about. I'm talking about the future, life after death. What do you all imagine about after death? You all want to be in Jannah, right? Imagine that. Imagine that you want to be with your wife in Jannah. You want your wife to be with you. And choose a wife who can lead you to Jannah, who can help you to go to Jannah. Choose a wife like that. Well, coming back to the hadith, Rasulullah says marry a religious woman. There is no disagreement that you cannot consider other qualities like wealth, beauty, etc. But you see, there's a beautiful chocolate wrapper. You buy that, you find it very good in the beginning, but when you start eating it, you realize that it's not good, and you don't find any enjoyment in eating it. Similarly, if you look only beauty in a woman, you find a very beautiful woman and marry her. And if there's no deen in her, she's not going to fulfill the criteria of the one we discussed about azwaj and litaskunu, where you find tranquility with her. She cannot fulfill this criteria. We discussed mawaddatam wa rahma, love and mercy between the spouses. She cannot fulfill this criteria. Because you didn't want this at the first place. You didn't want her to be good on her deen. You just wanted her to be beautiful. There is no doubt that you must look the beauty in the woman you are looking for, because it cannot happen that you marry someone you don't like at all and then you go around looking for other women after marriage. She should help you lower your gaze. Regarding choosing men, Prophet ﷺ said, if there comes to you with an offer of marriage for your daughter or sister, with whose deen and character you are pleased of, then marry them. Then marry them to him. If you do not do so, there will be destruction on earth. Then the Sahaba asked Rasulullah, if there is some problem in him physically, Rasulullah said, still marry him. Otherwise you will face destruction on this land. He repeated this thrice. Hasan al-Basri, a famous Tabi'i, says, marry woman to one who fears Allah. For if he loved her, he will treat her with utmost respect. And if he didn't, he will at least not oppress her. Our brothers, when you're marrying, you shouldn't have unrealistic dreams and unrealistic expectations. She should be beautiful, she should be fair. I wouldn't marry if she has a dot on her skin. She should be an MBBS, she should be a doctor. We see guys they have just studied BCom or they are jobless, but they wanted a woman who is a doctor, a woman who has studied MBBS. Don't keep unrealistic expectations. This will just delay the marriages. While selecting a spouse, also is important to meet her, to meet the girl before marrying, to meet the prospect whom you are interested in. Rasulullah said, when a Sahabi came to Rasulullah and said that I'm getting married, Rasulullah asked, did you look at her? Did you meet her? He said no. Rasulullah said, go and meet her. That will create love between you. So meeting with the prospective spouse is very important, that you need to find out that you share the common ground, you need to share the thoughts, and is she really good on the deen? If you're a dawah carrier, I wish you all are dawah carriers, and you should say her that deen is my first priority. I want you to help me in deen, I want you to help me in growing in the deen. Fine, if you cannot do all this, then may Allah give you a better husband than me. She's not the wife for you. She can't help you in these things. In the traditional concept of marriages, you see that it is only the photographs are shared and you don't even go and meet her. You get married. And when you meet her on the day of marriage, you lift the veil and you say, "Oh no, she wasn't the one I saw in the photograph. It was probably photoshopped." So meet her. And even in the case of girls, they are not even shown photographs. They are just said, you have to marry so and so, ma'am. That's it. This is totally an Islamic concept, and it's taken from the Indian traditional society. So now when we have selected the spouse, everything is done, now comes the part of marriage. And now starts the real love. And now starts the real stage of love. In the beginning it will be too rosy, it will be the husband and wife will be too much in the in-love syndrome. Ibn Hazm states in his book, The Ring of Dove, he says, in the beginning of marriage, the wife and husband are in in-love syndrome. Everything looks good to them. Even if the wife sneezes, he says, "Oh wow, she sneezes so nicely. I love the way she sneezes." And slowly it starts disappearing, and when the time of responsibilities grow up, you face challenges, that is the time you need to show your real love. That is the time the real love comes into picture. It can be like 2 or 3 years down the line. A husband may come home and The wife was thinking that this is the best man I could ever get. But 2-3 years down the line, the husband comes home from the office and just sits on the couch, throws his socks here and there, takes the remote control on the TV, and wife brings her dinner. He says, oh come on, get the dinner here only, we'll have it. She says, this is not the man I married in the beginning. In the beginning it was different, they have changed now. The man suddenly wakes up in the night and she says, oh God, she snores. In the beginning, if you would have seen this, you would have said, wow, she snores. I love the way she snores. So things change after a couple of years. That is when the real love comes into picture, when the real responsibilities show up, when you start facing challenges in the marriage. That is when you need to show your real love. People say that don't ask the people who are recently married about marriage. Ask the people who have been married for a long time. They will say you how a marriage looks like. Same thing. So now coming to the main part, how do we love the halal way? Everybody is eager to know how to love the halal way. Right? I'll discuss a very beautiful love story with you all. And then you will know how to love the halal way. Whom do you think is the best love story you've ever heard of? Yeah? Okay, anybody else? Okay. You've not heard of Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol? I thought that was a very good love story. Laila Majnu, Romeo Juliet, Devdas and Paro. These are good love stories, right? Imam al-Zuhri states, the first love story ever known in the history of Islam was the love story of Rasulullah with his wife Aisha. And that is the best love story. We need to learn lessons from these things. If you want to consult a love guru, don't listen to the radio at night, 11:30. 11 or 11:30, I don't know. When does that come? Love guru? 12. Fine. Don't listen to the radio if you want to hear a love guru. Read Seerah. Learn how was Prophet ﷺ's behavior towards his wives. That is where he demonstrated love. He demonstrated practical and true love. There was a gathering with the Sahaba. Amr bin As asked Rasulullah ﷺ, who is the most beloved person to you in this world? All the Sahaba are sitting together and he's asking Rasulullah ﷺ, who is the most beloved to you in this world? Rasulullah said in front of everyone, Aisha. She is the most beloved to me. Amr bin As said, no, not like that. I'm asking about men. Who is the most beloved to you in men? Any guesses who was the best, who was favorite of Rasulullah in men? Okay, but he did not reply that. No, that is the answer, but he did not reply that way. He said, Abuha, her father. He could have said Abu Bakr Siddiq Tanan. He still related that relation with Aisha Zilani. That is the way he showed love towards Aisha Zilani. Also, he used to call her by nicknames. He used to call her Aish with love. He used to, when they used to eat meat, he used to take a piece of meat and feed her with his own hands. And then he used to eat it from the same place she ate. He used to take a glass and feed her with his own hands. And then he used to take the glass and drink from the same place. Her lips touched the glass. This was the love between Rasulullah and Aisha. A very interesting incident of Rasulullah and Aisha. On an occasion of Eid, there was a show going on. A show of Ethiopians, they were performing a show. So Rasulullah asked Aisha, do you want to go and see that? In some narrations, Aisha asked Rasulullah, do you want to go and see that? So Aisha said, yes, I want to. So they both went together to see the show. Rasulullah was standing, and Rasulullah said, Aisha to stand behind her. And she was standing on her tips. She was a bit shorter than Rasulullah. She was standing on her tips and watching it so that her cheeks were touching Rasulullah's cheek. And they were pressed to each other. You got to know the situation, right? Rasulullah is standing, Aisha is standing behind her, and she is leaning towards him and watching the show, and her cheeks are touching Rasulullah's cheek. Rasulullah asked her, are you done? Are you satisfied watching this? She said no. Rasulullah again asked her, are you done? He said no. She said no. Rasulullah asked her for the third time, are you done? Are you satisfied now? She said yes, let's go. Later on, Aisha narrates this story and says, Wallahi, I was not interested in watching those Ethiopians play. I was only interested in standing with Rasulullah and touching my cheek to his. This was the love, the mawaddatan wa rahma between them. The love and mercy between them. Rasulullah also loved other wives. Forgot an incident of Rasulullah. At the time of Rasulullah, where was Rasulullah when he died? In his house, definitely, but he was in the arms of Aisha radiallahu anha. He was lying down in his arms. And the last thing to enter Rasulullah's mouth before death was the saliva of Aisha radiallahu anha. Do you know that? You know how was it? He asked Aisha radiallahu anha to do miswak. And then he said, okay, now give me the miswak. I want to do it now. This is the time of the death of Rasulullah. Still he is showing so much love for her. Well, he used to love other wives as well. He used to love Khadija a lot. The Rasulullah said while speaking about Khadija, he said, verily I was blessed with love for her. Also Aisha narrates that I was not jealous of any other wife of Prophet as I was jealous of Khadija because of her constant mentioning of her name. She said it was like there is no other woman in the whole world. There is only Khadija. He loved her so much. Whenever there was some sacrifice in his home, he used to send part of the meat to all her friends, even after her death. This was the love. I'm almost coming to the conclusion of my talk. I'll conclude with a beautiful love story again. This is the story of Abu Darda and Darda anhu. This is a very beautiful love story, brothers. Abu Darda was a Sahabi. He was from the Ansar in the Medina. He was a poor man. And he used to hardly come home and he used to hardly stay with his wife. It was like he used to be in prayers whole night. He used to pray. He used to fast the whole day. And then once when he went to Rasulullah said, you have rights over your body. You have rights over your family. You have rights over the wife. So that time he changed himself a bit and he used to spend time with his wife. They were anyways very poor. Just fast forwarding the story a bit. After 40 years of their marriage, Abu Darda was about to die. So, they have struggled all their life. There was hardly any time they could enjoy themselves. And now Abu Darda is dying and Darda is sitting beside her. She says to Abu Darda, in this dunya, you came to my father and proposed to me. You asked my hand to him. And I agreed. She continues saying, so ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make me your wife in Jannah. SubhanAllah. He's about to die and she's saying that I want to live with you in Jannah. You may think that he was about to die, so she's showing her love towards him. It was probably not that. But when Abu Darda died, a proposal came to her. You know from whom? From Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu. He was the Khalifa of that time. He was the ruler of the Muslims at that time. He was a very wealthy man. He was of a noble character. He was very known in the society. He was well respected in the society. You know what was the response she gave when this proposal came? She said, sorry, I cannot marry. She said, I am already engaged to Abu Darda in Jannah. SubhanAllah. Why is this? if you just look behind, we feel that the luxury is a good factor of successful marriage. They did not have luxury in their marriage. They were very poor, struggling on their lives. But the main component which they had in common was the deen. Their goal was same. They both wanted to be in the Jannah. They were both pursuing the same goal, that is Jannah. When this is the characteristics of your marriage, you don't have to fear about any economic crisis. You don't have to fear about the aging problem. This is the most important aspect of a marriage. So brothers, when you look for your spouses, when you look for your future spouses, look for this component. Because this is the component which will keep you in Jannah with your wife. Not just in dunya, she will be the leader of your hoors in Jannah. Don't you want that? Right? So at the end we conclude, we've learned that the concept of love is not the love which is shown in the movies, in the media. That is just lust and filth. In fact, Islam teaches us love. Islam elevates the position of love. It is Islam that teaches us how to fulfill this instinct of love. That is love, but the halal way, through marriage. Fine, I wouldn't leave you in the middle saying that you will have to marry for loving. Till then, what do you do? Rasulullah also teaches us this thing. He says, lower down your gaze. Whenever you face the situation, lower down your gaze. And try to fast. If you cannot marry, Rasulullah said, whoever cannot marry should try fasting. So increase the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last advice I give you all is to marry you very soon as possible. As soon as you finish your studies. Fine? When we end the talk, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He finds very good spouses for us who will lead us to Jannah, to whom we can love the halal way, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.